Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session of our Lunch and Learns with the Business Center Guelph-Wellington. Today we're joined by Raylan Douglas from one of our local Toastmasters groups to talk about confident communication. So anybody who is watching on Facebook or one of our recordings, do please leave messages in the comments. We can always connect you with Raylan and try and get the answers for you after the fact or even during this live session. But I will introduce Raylan now and we can get going. So Raylan, thank you for joining us, and I will leave this in your wonderful hands. I'm here if you need me.
Thank you, Angela, and good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see some familiar faces. Anya, recognized from another Toastmasters club, and a few others who I assume are small business owners working with you, Angela, in some of your amazing programs. So my name is Raylan Douglas. I'm the CEO, founder of Ray Soleil Consulting. And a little tip on that name is Ray of Sun. Ray of Sunshine was a nickname when I was a kid. And as I formed my business, I really want to bring energy and warmth and sunshine into organizations who are really feeling depleted. So the focus of my consultancy is in healthcare primarily, but to help people really improve the employee experience or the experience of nurses, PSWs, doctors, whoever, so that we have happier patients. So my focus has really been on helping to develop leadership programs that focus on resiliency and to really help leaders be compassionate, communicative, kind, so that we retain our staff and put more money back into healthcare. So with the help of the Guelph Business Center Guelph-Wellington, I was in the Starter Plus program in the fall of 2020. And a couple of fellows from a Toastmasters club came and presented. And I thought, wow, okay, I've heard about this organization years ago when my mother-in-law joined a local club to help herself prepare for our Welcome to the Wedding speech. And I thought, oh, that's really smart. That's good for her to do that. But who would deliberately sign up for something that makes you go and public speak every week? Not for me. So that was in my early 20s. And over the years, progressively senior leadership positions required me to present in front of Treasury Board, in front of organizations. And I was terrified. I would do everything I could to avoid the situation, thinking I could wing it and just not prepare that might help. It didn't. Some of you might know. So I really had a fear of public speaking. And until I discovered the Toastmasters group in the fall of 2020, I thought, how else am I going to launch my business if I'm not confident enough to present and to feel comfortable, myself in front of large groups? So I joined the group and I was with them for about 6 months. I'll explain a little bit about how Toastmasters works. And then join the executive. And so now I'm finding I have increasing opportunities to use my voice, not only for my business, but for the club that I'm part of, to bring more members to our organization and to really spread the joy that Toastmasters has provided to us. So a little bit about how Toastmasters works. It's a structured format, which is amazing because you really learn how to run a meeting. There's an agenda that's sent out ahead of time. People sign up for roles. It's an hour and a half typically. Our club meets on Monday evenings. I think Anya's is Thursday mornings, and there's others throughout the week. There's so many clubs in the Guelph area, as well as international. You can go on their website and find any club that suits your timeline. And the beautiful thing about our virtual environment is you could join a club around the world, as long as it lines up with your time zone and you're not in the middle of the night. You could really benefit from this organization at any hour of the day or night. So as I said, the meetings are very structured. We have people sign up for various roles. There's things like the grammarian that helps you identify your filler words. Turns out mine is so. You might hear that a few times as I'm presenting. But at the end of the meeting, they tell you how many times you've used your filler word, just for your information. There's a timer who keeps track of the length of time the speeches are taking. There's an evaluator who listens to your speech, gives you feedback, personal one-on-one feedback. There's a chairperson. So all of these roles have an opportunity for people to get engaged, even with just doing a small toast at the beginning or doing a more elaborate speech as people become more comfortable. So not only do you improve your communications speaking style, but you have an opportunity to really develop your leadership skill when it comes to running effective meetings, whether it's on Zoom or in person. So beyond the meetings, Toastmasters provides an extensive platform for us to grow. You choose one of 11 pathways that you can experiment with. And it's very structured with an icebreaker at the beginning and then getting deeper into the layers of effective communications by having us even do things like, developing a social media presence or presenting in front of large groups, writing a blog. So each one of these pathways is designed to take you through your longer term goal or vision, but then break it down into manageable chunks so you can see progress, monthly, weekly. It really is a beautiful structure, and it's very cost effective. It's like, I think $15 a month I pay for my Toastmasters. So really an accessible, effective, smartly designed platform for all of us to take ourselves on a journey of communications and leadership. The other really strong benefit of Toastmasters, in my opinion, is the opportunity to have a mentor and to have people evaluating you on a regular basis. Most of us have performance reviews at work where we might have, a stressful conversation once a year with our leader. But in Toastmasters, we have the opportunity to be evaluated every meeting. So it gives us a chance to practice those skills, to learn how to convey feedback in a positive, constructive manner, to be diplomatic in the words that we choose, to think on our feet, and to maybe handle some stressful situations. So it really helps to build your self-awareness, empathy for others, and to give and receive feedback on a regular basis. So once we hone that skill within Toastmasters safe community, then we're more able to do it in our workplaces or in our businesses, whether it's giving feedback to a customer or talking to a partner or a client. It really does give us good practice. So beyond the meetings and the platform that I've described, Toastmasters offers conferences, meetings. You can attend different clubs as a guest, and you have the opportunity to serve as the executive. So after I was at Toastmasters for about 6 months, the opportunity presented itself that I could become on the executive. And one of the openings was vice president of membership. So I jumped in, and I'm with a nice collegial group of leaders who help to improve the club by meeting once monthly and having conversations about how we can attract members, how we can improve the quality of our club, what can we do for fun, how can we improve. So if you've never served on a board, this is, again, a great opportunity to try and to know what it's like to be part of an executive team and to, work through sometimes the challenges and the conflict or the really positive things that come from being on an executive team. So lots of opportunities to grow. So thinking about you, there I use my filler word. So thinking about small business owners and what you might need to be thinking about for your communications goals. I wondered today, if maybe you have an opportunity to present a sales pitch or to talk about your value proposition, and if that causes you anxiety or stress. So one thing you might want to consider doing is creating for yourself a little cheat sheet that you can practice. If you're attending networking sessions, I know when I was going through the building of my business, sometimes I'd be on a networking call with 50 or 60 people. And they would have this structure where they'd go around the room and they'd have you introduce yourself briefly, say something unique about yourself, and then sort of prepare for those breakout sessions where you might have that one-on-one conversation or conversation with a small group. So being in a group like Toastmasters can help you become more self-aware, a little bit more comfortable speaking about yourself on the fly in these situations, and to practice different variations and different versions of this elevator pitch or this value proposition. I think 3 things that are really helpful for you to consider as you go to develop this are, how do you convey who you are, your name, maybe say something funny or interesting or unique about it so people remember you. If your name has an awkward spelling or pronunciation, you might say Ray Lynn, spelled kind of like the ray of sun or whatever. You might use something to connect the dots for an individual so that they clearly can remember your name. To clearly state the name of your business and the sector that you're in. Some of us use acronyms or we rely on jargon that is familiar to us in our world, but think of your audience as maybe being completely unfamiliar with the sector that you're working in or the line of work that you're doing. So just assume they know nothing about you and you want them to remember some key points about your business name, what you focus on. So at the beginning, I mentioned my company is Ray Soleil, and I talked about being a ray of sun. I'm still working on it, whether that's the way I like to describe my business. But as I go about talking to people, I say I really want to focus on improving the employee experience in healthcare. So I've narrowed down my business focus to have some keywords so that if I'm in a meeting of 60 people, they can say, oh yeah, Ray of Sunshine, employee experience, healthcare. Okay, I either want to talk to her or I have nothing to do with her, but something that stands out about you and your business. The other little tip that I've learned along the way in some of my networking calls is to think about something that's really unique about you or what you're known for. That can also help you stand out in a crowd to say, oh, Hema, you said you're really known for being compassionate or kind or to give great customer service. There might be something about you that they say, I want to talk to her because she's got it together. She's figured out some niche that she's working in. So really think about the qualities that make you unique and something that might stand out as you're having these conversations. So I guess what I'd like to leave you with is that you own the narrative. This is your voice, and take the steps that you need in order to feel confident using that voice. I know for me, for many years, I just wanted to hide in the background and delegate and maybe have some other people, do the presentation for me. But that doesn't serve my purpose and it doesn't serve my business. So I knew that I needed to take the steps, however painful they were, to join an organization that really allowed me to practice and to focus and to have consistency. And that's Toastmasters. So I know there are many, many clubs in the area. I can provide you a list of the clubs and when they meet and where. Really would like to encourage you to come and try out our club as a guest. I can send you the link, and I know Anya would do the same. Come as a guest, check it out, see how it runs, sign up to be a member if it suits you. And then after that, you have access to this amazing platform that I described that offers you that opportunity to really create a goal for yourself. Maybe one day you want to do a TED Talk or present or give a toast at a wedding. And then you can set a goal for yourself. For myself, I said 1 speech per month throughout the year, which I met. So I'm pleased with that I accomplished that goal. And I can say it's made the world of difference for me in how I feel about presenting. For example, today, I knew about a month or maybe 6 weeks ago, Angie, that we spoke, that we were going to be having this conversation about communications. And I thought about presenting a slide deck. And I thought, well, I don't know if you want a slide deck. I think a conversation is a little bit more appropriate, allowing you some time for questions. And then I thought, what would I want to hear if I was a nervous speaker, which I was? And I think I just want to convey to you that it is possible to really make a change in your communication style, even if it's just not being terrified of public speaking or going to one of those networking events. There are programs that offer a really sound structure for going through and creating those smaller goals that you can achieve every week or every month. And you're within a community of really kind, supportive friends who can turn out to be lifelong friends, but also really want to see you succeed and improve. So highly recommend it. I don't know if Anya wants to get in and talk a little bit about her club and her experience. But I'd have to say it's been life-changing for me, and I really encourage people to check it out. Anya, do you want to jump in?
Sure. So I went to the business program, starter program as well, business center starter program. And I was really, I feel privileged that somebody introduced me to Toastmasters right when I started my business, because I have learned so many leadership skills, communication. My communication is much better. My confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. My confidence has grown, because the first time when I stepped up and did a speech, I was like, and you could really hear it in my voice. It was quivering as I went on with my speech, right? But I knew I had things to share, right? And I'm really passionate about entrepreneurship and business, right? So I recently started a new club that's called Resilient Entrepreneurs, and we meet every Monday at 8 a.m. But as Thursday at 8 a.m. But I'm also part of another club that meets Mondays at noon, right? So we, as Raylan said, there's so many different clubs, and you're welcome to go as a guest to any of the clubs and see what works best for you. And yeah, I just really encourage you to check it out and see what you can learn, because as Raylan said, it's amazing what we learn going through the pathways. I find like it's like a little university online. So you choose your pathway depending on what you want. Like there's leadership development, strategic relationships. I can't think of all the different names of the pathways, but so you can either go and do go through it and it gives you an idea of what path you should choose, or you can just look at all the pathways and choose one, right? But in each pathway you have 5 levels, and as further in as you go, it becomes a bit more challenging, right? So you do your free speeches first, but then it gives you challenges too. So you have to go through a program that goes through leadership styles, for instance, or communication styles, and then you kind of figure out what yours is, but also then through that you can figure out how you communicate better with the other personalities, right, or styles. So I really enjoyed, and I can just highly recommend come out as a guest and check it out. And I'll put the link for Resilient Toastmasters that meets Thursdays at 8 in the link, and Raylan can put her link in, but you can just go to Toastmasters International. I'll put a link for you as well, and you can search clubs. There's clubs in each area, and that's another thing that Raylan mentioned. You can go to any of the clubs as a guest staff. I mean, before you're a Toastmaster, but also when you're a Toastmaster. So when the pandemic first started, I went to Toastmaster clubs around the world, and I met great connections. Last night, I went to a Toastmaster club, and wouldn't you know, somebody from the Lang business and economics, or business and I forget what it's called, but he's part of the University of Guelph, right? Was there a professor, right? And he said, "Hey, Anya, I'd be happy to share about Resilient Toastmasters for you with my students," right? So you just never know who you meet, and I mean, sometimes we're just in the spot where we should be, but I find most of Toastmasters are very giving and helpful people. So it's a great community. So no matter which club you go to, you just feel right away that warms and that you're welcome. So anyways,
terrific.
Enough for me.
Thank you. I love your perspective, and I completely agree. You know, just a little bit on the pathways, there are 11 of them. The one that I'm working on is called Presentation Mastery. And they're unique because they focus on, you know, the specific item that you're wanting to focus on, but then there's a structure, the 5 levels that Anya described, that gets progressively more challenging. And I got to tell you, I entered an international speech contest this year. Never in my world would I ever have considered doing that. So they challenge you, they provide opportunity. And now I can say, you know, 18 months later, I look forward to presenting, like a day like today, Angela, you know, us getting together and being able to have a conversation. I'm not fearful any longer. So I have tangible results that I can see, that I can measure. And I just want to offer that to others who might be feeling that anxiety and that stress about the simplest things, like introducing yourself in a crowd, or, you know, standing up to say a few words at a wedding. These can be some of the most amazing experiences in our lives. And, you know, Toastmasters gives you an opportunity to practice, work out the bumps and the kinks amongst friends, and to, as Anya said, try out the different clubs. The University of Guelph has one that's, you know, primarily university students. Guelph Public Speakers, the one that I'm part of, has a real mix of, you know, younger, some university students, older, retired people in the middle. So there's a nice, diverse culture, and people come from all different angles. Because I'm the VP of membership, I get emails coming to the website. Most of them say, "My boss said I should contact Toastmasters because I have to give presentations and I'm fearful. So what can I do? How can you help?" So we have guests joining us every week from different walks of life and different backgrounds. So can't say enough good things about it. And I really thank the Guelph Business Center for presenting this opportunity. I guess both Anya and I found out about it through this community. So here's an opportunity for us to give a shout out to you and to thank you for providing this great platform for us. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
So I don't see any questions or comments in the chat right now. I did share all the information on our Facebook in the comments. So if you are watching on Facebook, any information that got shared from Raylin or Anya has been posted. I've also tagged the various Toastmaster groups in the area, so you guys can take a look at those. But I've always enjoyed bringing Toastmasters onto our workshops. It's always been nice to have other people who do speak out as a living or as just general public, because as someone who started off in a background of running conventions and now tends to be the front of everything, I can understand that initial fears of trying to get over and getting used to actually having conversations with your own computer screen. That's a big, I know it's a big struggle with Zoom in general, but having that conversation where I'm looking at my microphone instead of looking all over the place at everybody who's here is one of those challenges that when you're running any kind of online programs is something that you have to kind of get over. So I do appreciate Toastmasters coming, giving those resources, because there is a lot of people and there's a lot of people of various backgrounds with various speaking abilities. And this is just one more tool to your toolbox. So if you are looking to get connected with Toastmasters and you haven't seen our Facebook and you aren't able to get the links, please just send me an email. So success@guelphbusiness.com. I can connect you with Anya and Raylin, and I can also connect you directly with the Toastmasters links, get you those links so you can find them as well. If there's any other problems or questions you have about starting your own business, please do connect with us. We also have amazing business advisors and a lot of programs that we can help you navigate those challenges as well. So thank you, Raylin, and thank you, Anya.
Angie, before you wrap up, I was just curious, in some of the programs that you design and deliver with your business leaders, do you practice elevator pitches and that kind of thing? Do you have any sort of...
I am a big fan of elevator pitches, so we do practice them. I even put them into, I also run a lot of our digital media workshops, and I make people practice our digital media workshops, practice their elevator pictures in those, because if you can't figure out your elevator pitch to say to somebody in a regular day-to-day basis, you're not going to be able to put that notice out onto things like your social media. And it's one of those things that I have a background in working in food and working in social services, things like that. And you often have to put a small claim, small 150 word or 200 or 500 word statement about your business when you're joining any kind of networking group or joining large scale conventions or I've done everything from the Royal Winter Fair to Metro Canada events. So you need those small little clippets that are that value proposition, that statement, that what is your business, and you need to figure out how to hone it down so that you can do it fast and quick and get people engaged. And that is in writing and in virtual and in talking. So we want to make sure that you have those skills.
And
it is one of those things.
Offer one little other tip on that. I was reading a newsletter that I get from Thrive Global. It's a huge organization, Ariana Huffington, and they have all these contributors who are sending in tips and advice and various things. And I think, oh, this is cool. You know, you can have all this information coming at you from all these leaders. And some of them, they sign their name, you know, Joe Smith, ABC, or some other acronym. And you have no idea, okay, what is that? What does that acronym stand for? Where are they from? What's their perspective? Like, there's nothing. And I think there's such an opportunity here to really be aware of how we communicate, what we're saying, whether it's in an acronym or jargon or whatever, and practice a lot so that you become proficient in, you know, maybe you do have a 90-second elevator ride some days in your future, or you've got one moment on a networking call to make a connection with somebody. So practice short and long, and practice in front of the mirror, practice with a friend, join a Toastmasters group where you can just get used to the sound of your voice, because sometimes that's the most annoying thing, is that's what I sound like. So, the meetings are recorded. You can watch your hand motions, your facial expressions, your filler words. It's just a fantastic opportunity to become more self-aware. I was just looking through the chat also, and I saw that Tony provided something insightful. I'll read it because the people online won't have access. He said, "What is it you do better than anyone else that adds value to the lives of people that makes you unique? Discover what that is, then develop the elevator speech to let others know." You want to speak to that a little bit, Tony, or are you more comfortable writing
it? That's my business. That's what I do. I'm a business advisor with the Business Center of Guelph-Wellington, and as part of the team, and that's probably the one thing that I've used for years and years and years is to work with people to really discover who they are. And the message really is, bring your authentic you to the table. I want to know who you are. And in particularly today's world where so much is online, I deal with a lot of businesses that they want to set up a website. And a website's the easiest thing. Angie knows. I mean, anybody can set up a website, but can you drive traffic to it? And driving traffic doesn't necessarily just come from all, SEOs and Google reviews and everything else. So I encourage people, go online, read about other people, go to the About Us, about them, their stories, and read who are they, and then make notes. What are the things that you like about what they've said, or what you pick up as would make you want to do business with them, and what are the things you don't like? And then if you're going to develop your own website, think about that, because the very things that attract you to somebody else's website are the same things that are going to attract others to you. And that's your authenticity. That's who you are. That's what you bring. And it doesn't matter who you are. And Ms. Barr, I can appreciate 100% where you're coming from. Let me tell you, I couldn't look in a mirror when I was a child and hold a conversation. Quite frankly, now, I love crowds. The largest crowd I ever got a chance to speak to was in the tens of thousands, and it's showtime. You get confidence, and I read the other day that building confidence is you have to do it for the very first time. You do it for the second time, and it's only half as hard. You do it for the third time, and that's only a quarter as difficult. And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And eventually it's just, why never did I do this before? And so I truly believe if you find out what your real uniqueness is, that's your differentiator. Whatever you do, whatever business, and it doesn't matter if you work for somebody else or for yourself, but particularly if you work for yourself, how are you bringing value to me as a potential customer or client? And then how are you doing it? And really, adding all those three together really is the key in my mind to a lot of businesses. And Raylene, I wrote down what you said about the uniqueness. And I had to think where you might have got that.
I had a very good advisor. His word stayed with me. Yeah, Tony, you were a real blessing and such a gift at that point in my life, and still, I mean, I turned to you as a mentor for growing my business. I love what you're saying about the uniqueness, because everyone talks about having a brand, and sometimes that's a little bit intimidating because you think, well, I'm not Coca-Cola, I'm not McDonald's, I don't have a logo, but what do you want to convey when you're having a conversation with somebody? And you were talking about your love of sugar and bringing taste them around the world. Like, I'll remember that about you. And when I watch hockey, I love the Leafs. I always watch the player interviews after. And I have to say, sometimes I'm a little disappointed with their communication style, especially if they show up in the shadows with a hat on and you can't see their face and they're kind of grumbly and they're not really projecting you know, what their greatest fan would like to hear from them. So I would always like to send them a little message, say, hey, come on, this is your opportunity. You've got a platform, you've got cameras in front of you. This is your chance to tell people who you are, what you stand for. And yeah, you might have lost the game, but if you're a leader or a team player, or you can lift somebody else up, or think about that 11-year-old hockey fan who's watching you, who thinks you're amazing, speak to that person and convey whatever it is, confidence, warmth, humility, something, so that people go, I like that player, or I like that business owner. So I think you're right, Tony. Find something unique, find some way to emotionally connect with people. And then when you realize it's not really about you, you know, you're just a vehicle for whatever message, you don't feel as nervous. You can gain some of that confidence. So I wish you all well in your communications journey and would love to support you through Toastmasters or other means. So feel free to reach out.
So I will say thank you, Anya. Thank you, Raylan, and thank you everybody who participated in this conversation today. It's always great when we can actually have a conversation and a communication. Anybody watching on Facebook, like I said, if you are watching this after the fact on YouTube, please send me an email, success@guelphbusiness.com, add it into the comments. I check everything regularly, and we can help you if you need to get connected with anybody, or if there's something that we can assist you with. But for now, anybody in the room, if you'd like to stick around for another second or two, you're welcome to stick around. We can have more conversation. But anybody watching online, we'll see you next Wednesday for our next Lunch and Learn, which we will be having Olga join us. We'll be talking about summer company for students. So have yourself a great rest of your day and a great week, and go out and practice your communication. So thank you, everyone.